Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. And welcome to my explanation of my new planning system. I'm always changing things up and I like to share my different changes and different ideas I come up with because you know what? It might help somebody else out there too. And so I like to call this, or actually attribution goes to my husband Jason. He said, you know what this is? This is a deconstructed planning system. And so that's what I'm calling this, and it has to do with 5 specific things, or at least I need 5 specific things for 5 different reasons. And it might seem like a lot, but it's really not. And this fits all in a nice, tidy little handbag that I carry around with me, whether it's around the house or when I'm off running an errand and I might have some time to use, waiting in a waiting room, or working at a local cafe or restaurant. So let's dive into it. These are the 5 things that I use for my deconstructed planner. First, I use a blue sky 8 by 5 inch or 5 inch by 8 inch, however you want to use those dimensions, planner / agenda. I'm just going to a random page here so you can see the layout. I like using a very plain planner, specifically their classic version. I think that's what they call it. Yep, right here, classic. And it's a weekly, monthly. I'm going to leave links to everything I can down below in case you're curious. But I have been using this planner, this specific style brand for years. I like it because I can get it anywhere from $12 to sometimes even $6. So it's really inexpensive compared to the other fancy ones that are out there. And what it lacks in terms of color, it makes up for in ease of use. I like having a plain spread, just a real easy peasy view on a 2-page spread of the month. I like how easy it is to read the tabs. And I don't do a lot on the month. All I do is meetings that I can't forget, especially if it's off in the future, deadlines that I have to meet. But the most important aspect of my planner is the weekly spread. And I like that the classic always starts on Monday, and you get a bigger space for Monday through Friday and a smaller little area for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, because I rarely put anything Saturday or Sunday. I try not to plan any activities on those days because I need a break too. But I use the daily sections for my task list, and I'm just going to give you a quick glance at one. There we go. I write down my tasks. Let's see, let me find a better one. I write down my tasks. Oh yeah, I treated myself to a new planner, so you're going to see there wasn't any in March because I was able to get it cheap online. All right, so I start out with a circle, and then as I complete it, I put a slash through it. And if I don't complete it on that day, no harm, no foul. I just put a little arrow to tell me it moves down to the next day. So the planner / agenda / calendar, this really is for me to track meetings, appointments, and my daily tasks. So this is planning my time management. Next, I have to have a small spiral notebook. I was using a large notebook from Target, and I'm going to go ahead and grab one of those so I can share that right now too. I was using wide ruled 70 sheet notebooks that I got at Target during back to school time, and truth be told, I still have a big old stash of these just because I do love writing in these, specifically wide ruled, but the size was becoming a little cumbersome for me. So I also found this at Target. I think this was $6. I love the feel of these notebooks because it feels like leather. It's pleather. It's not real leather, obviously, or it'd be a heck of a lot more expensive. But it's my favorite color. And while it's not exactly wide ruled, the rules are so faint, the lines are so faint, it doesn't bother me. What I do like about this notebook is the size. I wanted something that was going to be smaller and easier for me to tote around, and it just feels very not overwhelming, I guess, so to speak. But I like to have a spiral notebook because I brainstorm in them, I go through the ideation process, and I think things through on paper. So in other words, things don't actually get planned in the notebook, but this is where they start, right? This is where all the thinking happens. Next, sometimes my task lists on my daily and my agenda isn't enough. Sometimes I have to break projects, larger tasks, into smaller actionable steps so I don't get overwhelmed and so I don't forget anything, right? If we need a roadmap if we're going from point A to point B, we need to know where and how we're going to get there. And so I need to break projects down into smaller tasks. And those kinds of tasks might not get done in a week or a month, right? It can take time. So I like to have a small notepad, lined notepad, and this is my favorite notepad from Paper Age. Again, link in the description below. But I love it because, one, it's cheap and inexpensive. Two, it is wide ruled. Three, they have a pack of different colors. I'm a fanatic for color, so I love that. And the paper quality is wonderful. It's very, very thick. So while I'm showing you, or trying to show you blank pages, but showing you each of the items that I use, know that I would write the name of the project and then have my task list, and then I do the same little circles as I do in my agenda along this margin here so that I could cross them off as I finish. And I've just ripped some project task lists off this notepad. But you can have, or I have, multiple going on a notepad at one given time. So that when I'm working or I sit down to work on a project, I just flip to the task list for that project. And I just focus on that task list, the things that have to get done. So in other words, the lined notepad allows me to break my goals into smaller, more bite-sized, actionable steps so I can actually make progress on my goals, on my projects, even if I can't finish it in one sitting. So that's why I use a lined notepad. Next, I like having an unlined notepad as well. Now this might seem a really, over-the-top extra to have a notepad, a notebook, clearly says that right there, notebook, notepad, and an unlined notepad. But I assure you it's not. It's taken several weeks for me to figure out why do I like having all these different things. And while I use my lined notepad for the lists at breaking projects down, I use my unlined notepad when I want to do something quick. Like if I'm watching a YouTube video and I want to jot down some notes, but I don't necessarily want to put them in my notebook because they're not my idea. They're not my ideation process. In other words, the unlined notebook, unlined notepad, this is where I write stuff down, jot it down, I rip it off, and I get it done. Or I want to draw, I want to sketch, I want to create my own graphic organizer. I need a T-chart or a Venn diagram. I can quickly draw that out and then rip this off and either use it somewhere or rewrite it in my notebook in a way that makes more sense, maybe cleaned up and thought out a little more. I just like having the option of that. So this is for my project task list, but this is for thinking it through or jotting things down that I want to do and take action on right away. Last but not least, y'all know if you've been here any length of time that I am an index card fanatic. I can't do anything without my index cards. Oh my goodness. They are my makeshift task list on the run. They are for my grocery list. They are for jotting things down in my purse when I don't have my writing tote with me. And so I found this cute little pouch several years ago at Barnes & Noble's. And it was like $14.95, maybe $19.95. And I looked at it for weeks because I thought it was so cute. Oh my goodness, it's even wide ruled and it's embroidered. It's not printed. And the zipper pull here is a little pencil. Anyway, I saw it at my local Barnes & Noble's, my local bookstore, and I wanted it so bad. I coveted this thing. But I could not bring myself to spend that much money on something I really didn't need. I just wanted it. But fast forward a couple months, and I'm perusing the clearance bin, and lo and behold, guess what's there for $5? I was so excited. Now, before I show you what's inside and why I have a pouch, I have to have a storage pouch for my index cards. But it could be anything from a Ziploc baggie, or I've shared this in other videos. I like to go to thrift stores. And you know those cosmetic monthly things? I think, what are they called? Ipsy? IPSY? Anyway, don't quote me on that. Cosmetic bags are a great way to store and keep track of your index cards, especially on the go. If you want to throw them in your purse or your bag and protect them, you can do that. In fact, they're cheap. They're a dime a dozen at local thrift stores. In fact, these are two that I found today that I'm so stoked about because I like to have variety. I like to swap out my little index card pouches based on the project that I'm working on. It's a cheap, easy, fun way for me to, inject some novelty into my work. And so these are two that I got today. This one I spent, I think it was $1.99. Then I had 20% off that with a coupon. Same with, this one was 99 cents, I think. But this one I liked because it will hold a little more because the zipper actually goes along the side here. And I didn't like the wristlet handle it had, so I actually cut that off. I'm going to put a zipper pull here for myself. But I look for a good zipper that's going to be easy. And then this one, I look for clean insides. And you can see how nice. It looks brand new, so that was a great deal. And while it's plain, I love the feel of it. It's pleather. And then this one was, I just loved it's also real clean inside, real basic. It had a good zipper. But I loved the print. It had, I don't know if you can see this on camera, there's little holes here. It had some kind of logo, I don't know what you call it, a little piece of pleather that had a logo on it. And I didn't want that on there. And when I'm looking for tote bags or canvas pad folios or little zipper pouches, cosmetic pouches to use for my stationery, I always look for logos that have been stitched on because you can just take a seam ripper and pull it off. And yeah, there's little holes here in the fabric, but with some time, those will go away and it's a lot prettier without that logo there. So now that you know where I get these pouches, I never pay full price. Even for the ones I'm dying to get, like this one. They are worth their weight in gold for me because I use them to store my book decks. And so this is a book deck. I'm going to do a video on this in a few weeks here. But book decks is what I call index cards that are held together with a binder ring here for projects that I'm currently working on. So not only do I keep my book deck for the book that I'm actually working on, but I also keep blank punched index cards as well. And I'm going to leave a link to my favorite index cards down below. I only use the Oxford Heavyweight Ruled Index cards. They're a little pricey, $3-4 for a pack of 100, but they are really nice and thick. And then I punch them myself. But yeah, there you have it. Those are the 5 different components that I need for my deconstructed planning system. And I feel like I finally reached planner peace. But it took taking it apart, thinking about what I really needed, and then finding the right components to meet those needs. And yeah, like I said, it might look and feel like a lot at first, but compared to some of those binder systems, oy vey, this is nothing. But it is absolutely perfection for me. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that I've given you some ideas that you can take away and put to use for your own planning system. Until the next video, I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.